so now we can go back up to the Metro West Leadership Academy.
Yeah.
Folks, thank you, yeah,
I'm gonna play.
we put a couple, yeah, you're gonna go first?
We're gonna come up together. I'm gonna pretend what it's like to not be sitting on that side of the table.
Yeah, better practice.
And I actually have handouts and goodies, well, not goodies, but handouts for you guys.
Yeah, goodies, we were thinking candy.
Well, the goodies is in the program.
Yeah.
This is the, Marcia.
Thank you.
There you go, Gina. Laurie,
Thank you.
there you go, James. Barbara.
So we're here to talk to you about the Leadership Metro West Academy. And my close classmate here, Howie, and I are members of a committee, the Outreach Committee, and you know me, so I'm going to give Howie a chance to just introduce himself to the group.
Sure. My name is Howie Rosenstein. I'm a resident of Southborough, Massachusetts, which I guess qualifies me to be involved in the Metro West Leadership Academy. But I also work for Cumberland Farms, which is located in Framingham, Mass.
So here's an agenda, because I'm already lost. So we're going to have you start.
Yeah, sure. So I know that Marcia has taken you through a little bit of Metro West Leadership Academy, if I'm not mistaken. And we are here, as Marcia said, as part of an outreach committee, which is one of the primary objectives, is a result of one of the primary objectives of the academy, which is to spend a year working with fellow citizens or professionals from Metro West. And at the end of the program, we actually do a civic-minded project, and we'll talk about that in a second. I want to read, one sentence from the handout that I gave you in terms of what Metro West really is, and we can kind of get into why Marcia and I joined the group and what we've gotten out of it, and why we think it's really important for folks like yourselves, committees like yourselves, to send representatives to the organization, what you can get out of it as well. So the sentence I want to read is from the second paragraph, which says, the Leadership Academy, the flagship program of Leadership Metro West, provides a unique experiential leadership development opportunity that connects a diverse group of leaders across all sectors. So in my world, I'm a chief financial officer of a large corporation. I never would have had the opportunity to work alongside someone like Marcia and have the experience of learning from all of her public sector work as well as your nonprofit work, right? And that's true of 30 other professionals that are amongst our classmates. We have folks from the private sector like myself, we have folks from the nonprofit sector, we have folks from the municipal sector. Your town planner is one of our classmates.
Town manager.
Town manager, excuse me, is one of our classmates. So when you bring together this group of 30 folks that don't know one another, that grow to work very closely with one another very quickly, you start to appreciate what each person brings to the group and all their relevant experiences. And that leads to the leadership skills that we can share with one another and help ourselves in our own organizations, whether it's private or non-profit or a municipal organization. So in terms of who can benefit, everybody can benefit. And what I personally have benefited from is learning about all these programs that we have in Metro West and visiting various companies, nonprofits, municipal organizations that I'd never heard of before. And I'll throw some out there, and maybe from a show of hands, if I could ask you guys if you have heard of some of these places and have toured some of these places, which we have now had the opportunity to do so ourselves. The first is Keith Tech. You've heard of it, right? Have you taken a tour of it? Yeah? Phenomenal. Well, that's true. That's probably a bad example to lead off with, right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Absolutely a phenomenal place to see another type of a learning environment. I've never been to a vocational school before. I was blown away at the opportunities that they give these kids. So for someone like me to walk in from a corporate sector to see what they do at Keith Tech, great experience. Bethany Hill School, another school. We spent a day at Bethany Hill learning about all of the educational programs that they have and how they provide housing for those people in need. We spent a day at the YMCA here in Hopkinton and looking at all the different programs that they have for their kids. Probably the one place that touched me the most was, what 3 weeks ago? We went to MCI Framingham. Have you all had a chance to tour MCI Framingham? Really? Okay, so a couple. You know, I got to admit, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get psyched up to go visit jail, right? But when you get there and you see that there are 500 inmates there, probably with 500 different needs that need to be addressed. And from a corporate person like myself, to look at how their organization handles the needs of the inmates there and provides programs for them and how it's all organized is really something that was very interesting to me. I never would have had that opportunity to go visit that facility, the Metro West Leadership Academy. So it's personally enriching, it's professionally enriching, and it's also very satisfying that at the end of this curriculum, we, the 30 of us, get to work together on a civic-minded project. So you have the leadership skills that you get to visit various organizations within Metro West, and you get to give back to the community through a civic-minded project. And this has been going on since 1985, something around there.
Yeah, sure.
There's over 600 alumni to network with. And to see the roster of all the different civic projects that have taken place, some that are still ongoing, which is really neat, makes me feel really good. And the reason why we're here is that our civic project has been to promote the good work that the Metro West Leadership Academy provides for the folks at Metro West. And we're doing so through social media and through outreach. And it's a good thing I'm not on social media because I don't know how to tweet or do any of that stuff. So I would easy. It's easy. Well, I'll take your word for it. But this is just our way of giving back. You know, presenting to you guys the benefits and the enrichment that someone from your organization, from your committee, will have next year as you send someone to join the group. And Dan, I'm not sure about a few words too.
Yeah, and I'll be brief, but you know, given that I'm coming from the school committee, I've said it many times that I wish that I had done this at the beginning of my school committee experience instead of the beginning. It is a phenomenal opportunity. You know, Howie mentioned all the places we tour. I'll mention another one, which is the Danforth Museum. And although I haven't followed up on it, I grabbed a bunch of the cards because what a phenomenal thing. We have this museum right in our community. And I spoke to the director while we were touring, and she said that they do a lot with the Framingham schools, but not so much with Ashland. And I thought, well, here's an opportunity. I don't know what form it would take, but it's those kind of seeds that can be planted. The other piece of the program that Howie, when he was talking about the pieces, the pieces are the tour and the project. Another piece is that we do a leadership curriculum. And the leadership curriculum for me has been especially wonderful. Some of the topics we've gone through, it's like every month when we meet, we have a topic. So we talked about authenticity and how important it is as a leader to be authentic to your own true self. And that is how you can really lead others. You can't lead from a place when you're not true to yourself. We talked about resiliency, which is, again, something I could have used 9 years ago. How do you bounce back from adversity when you're trying to be a leader and things don't go your way? The curriculum and then the conversation with, as Howie said, the group that we are with it's such a great group. A lot of really young, dynamic people who are coming from all different sectors, and you know, then people, we have Tony who, you know, has always got a war story to tell, so it's just a fascinating group. So just to give you some logistics before we finish up, the way it works is that you know, there's a nomination process, which I think is a fairly simple thing to have to become nominated, and then an application process. Once you're accepted, the program starts with a 2-day retreat in September, and then meets one day per month through June. Every day is typically, you begin with a tour, and we've had some wonderful tours, and then you have some time for discussion around the curriculum, and then there's time to work on this group project. So that's kind of how the days work. And again, I think you're sort of getting a flavor for how our project worked. When people started talking about tweeting and social media, I was like, okay, not playing to my strength, but we talked about the outreach. So part of what our committee, and we have a committee of about 10, is to go around and go to groups like this, but also corporate groups, to business associations and that sort of thing, to present so people can hear about this, as Helen always calls it, this gem in our community. So that's what we're doing, and I would say you guys are our guinea pig. Appreciate you doing that. I've been telling them that we had a friendly group here, and that I knew that we could talk to you folks. And, and I don't know if Harry has anything to add.
No, I you know, other than if anyone has any questions about the group and you know, how it's been otherwise beneficial to ourselves, or what you can get out of it. I think when you bring Tony's name up, you know, just to hear again, it really provides me, from the corporate world, I've never had an opportunity to understand how town governments work. And I've never had a chance to really understand the ins and outs of nonprofits. You know, I've become friendly with someone who's very instrumental in the United Way effort. And based on that networking that I was able to create with her, she felt very comfortable asking myself if my company could sponsor a wonderful event in Framingham last month for the United Way. And we were able to do that for her. And I went to the event and heard a wonderful speech. I never would have had that opportunity. I never would have the opportunity to hear that speech had I not met Jen through United Way. It allows people like myself to interact with people from different spheres of professional work that we otherwise wouldn't have. And same thing with Marcia. And frankly, this outreach program was all her idea, by the way, because she said we need to figure out how we can get more municipal employees into Metro West. So I appreciate that great idea and the opportunity that has been spawned from that. And we're just here to spread the word of Metro West.
And I just want to go off something Howie said, which is, he talks about getting the experience of the municipal side. He didn't see from corporate. I'm getting to see the corporate stuff. Cumberland Farms sends 2 people. They're sending 2 people. And I've gotten to know them, and I'm going to tell the Cumberland Farms story because I've told it to several. It is. He talked about, no, too, but he talked about how Cumberland Farms, I believe, received an award because at a time when the healthcare law came into effect and a lot of corporations started downsizing the number of hours their employees worked so they could save their money, Cumberland Farms stepped up and increased employee hours. Doesn't everybody want to go to Cumberland Farms now? I mean, honestly, it's that kind of experience that I wouldn't have heard that story. I'm sure it might have been in the media, but I heard it because Howie told me. And I've never driven by or stopped and gotten coffee at Cumberland Farms without that experience. And so I hope you can tell that it's been a moving experience for us. And I really believe it would be awesome if the schools could find a way to send some leaders there.
Yeah, well, if you guys can find another person to come with Marcia's skills and experiences, then the next group next year will certainly benefit. So I'll leave that with that.
And Howie was the one who was willing to come out and do this with me, so he's my hero.
Thank you, Howie. Marcia's been walking the walk. She's been, promoting for a couple, at least 2 or 3 times now, and it's very intriguing, actually.
And we haven't told you, but Mr. Evans is an alumni.
That's right among us. My gosh, there you go. Yeah, that's fine with that.
Yeah.
So I just have so it's 1 day a month. It must be a Saturday.
No.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a work day.
Yeah, it usually goes 8:30 or 9 o'clock to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And as Marcia said, we split the day into the curriculum aspect of it, which is the leadership skills that we have this massive chapter to read and we discuss, and that's frankly where all the good experiences come in from the different cross sections. Because when Marcia talks about resiliency, resiliency to me might mean something very different to Marcia and someone else. So we split the day between the tour and the education and then the group project. So it's really
always a group project.
Yeah.
How do you get nominated to go?
I'm happy to nominate anyone who's interested. That's one way. I don't,
It's a grueling process.
don't worry too much about that part.
Several layers of interviews and yeah, I don't, honestly, I don't know if we're representative of the nomination process. Like Marcia said, we send a couple of people a year to this, and frankly, I think we look for residents of Metro West to send, and being in Framingham, we always have a large number to choose from. But I think the other thing that's really important is, especially when organizations consider who they should send and how many they should send, one of the things that we were talking about last week was, we have a responsibility to do a civic project, but we also have a responsibility to bring in younger folks who will benefit from the leadership education. And, for those of, like myself, a little bit of a gray beard, I may have some of the experiences, but the younger folks, the up-and-comers, the rising stars, they could really benefit from something like this. So we were talking about, trying to get scholarships for the younger people right out of college even to join the group. So we kind of need to have, experiences from,
It would broaden the conversation.
graduates, yeah.
Sure. Any other questions?
Thank you, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
Really.
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested.
Good.
Thank you for
Good.
sharing your
Thank you.
Well,
experiences.
thanks for having me. And
Thanks
I
for
gotta
coming.
say, you should have left breadcrumbs or something for me to try to find
Oh,
this.
I
this
know.
We have a wonderful custodian who brought me, by my hand down to.
I tried to give the, the door, but I thought.
It is a little tricky.
There you go, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, we appreciate
Bye.
it. Good job.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to move item number 10.